Hi, I'm Calista.
And I'm Allison, and welcome back to I Don't Want to Talk About Politics, where we discuss the things you don't want to talk about around the Thanksgiving dinner table. Let's start off by saying that we're very sorry about last week. We're very much looking forward to putting out the episode. However, due to unforeseen remote recording issues, the audio got all jumbled. However, we're back this week and we're home from school, ready for summer break. Callista, how does it feel to be back home?
It feels really great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just technically, I had a great 1 week of summer break, and now I started classes again, so that's fun.
Yeah, same here. Um, so you started back at your job, right?
Yes. So I started back at the quilting bee where I've been working the last 3 summers since 2020,
Mm-hmm.
August 2020, and yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, that's great. Um, well, so I started a new job. I finally got a job, which I complained about what, like 2 or 3 episodes from
Mhm.
in our Earth Day episode. But I finally found a job. I'm a bridal stylist at David's Bridal. It's very fun. It's kind of like playing dress up with brides all day, and it's really cool getting to see people like find the dress that's going to be in pictures they're showing for the rest of their life. I also took my braids out, and let me tell you, I sincerely believe that white people are God's favorite because my hair has about 15 different lengths and about 30 different textures, and none of them seem to work together. And it's so frustrating. And Callista, you could like wake up in the morning, comb out your hair, and be fine. But if I want to comb out my hair, it's like a 30-step process.
If I comb out my hair grows to about 3 sizes bigger and poofier, and so I don't comb out my hair.
Anyways, we also worked on planning on what we were doing for next month as well,
Mhm.
which was very exciting. Although your sister's commentary on our planning for next month was so funny. Would you like
Yeah.
to tell the story?
So Grace has a weird obsession. She's my 12-year-old sister. She thinks because I don't want to talk about politics and we talk about politics, she thinks we only talk about Ronald Reagan. Nope, wrong president. Try this again. John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy. I think she did mention Ronald Reagan at some point, though.
Maybe. The only other ones for sure were Abraham Lincoln and George Washington.
And
Thomas
Thomas
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
those are the only people we're allowed to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So at one point we were talking about like we were planning what we were going to do around Father's Day, and she goes, "John F. Kennedy was a father."
Oh, like immediate, like the words "father" had just left my mouth. They just like entered into the universe, and she goes, "John F. Kennedy was a father," and I died laughing.
Yeah, it was really funny. I was like,
Mhm.
you know, it's not exactly what we were talking about, but okay.
Mhm. We are recording remotely for the second time. The first time we had some issues, and we're trying a new software. So if there are any issues with our microphones or anything, and the audio sounds a little weird, just let us know. Or just let us know, and also give us like a little bit of grace because yeah, we're really trying our best over here. We just spent like an hour and a half today trying to figure this out, so hopefully this works and will improve throughout the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Calista, do you have any more thoughts before we get into our top news stories of the week?
I don't think so.
All right, let's get into it. Starting off, we officially have coronated our new king, King
Our new
Charles,
king?
our new king,
We,
the
we
England's new
don't have
king.
a king.
We don't have a king, but like we can recognize he's like the only king that people care about.
Yeah.
Like no one's ever like, the king of Spain or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
King Charles III has been coronated, as well as Queen Camilla.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some interesting things. Katy Perry performed.
Random.
It's such an odd choice, but apparently she like loves Megan. Not Megan. She like loves Kate. Kate. What's her last name? I don't
Um.
know. I think is she
No,
princess or duchess now? I think she's duchess.
yeah, I think she's Duchess.
Anyway,
I don't know.
she like loves Kate and has been like Queen Kate
Mhm.
like notoriously. So I guess that's why they chose to perform. And then Prince Louis, who I believe is Kate and George's son. Is George the oldest brother?
George
It's
is
not.
the George is Louis' brother.
George is Louis' brother. What's the oldest son's name then?
Um.
I for some reason completely forgot this the past 2 days. Someone said Henry, and I know for a
William.
fact it's not William. That's what
It's
it is.
William.
Yes, because in Harry's book he always calls him Willie. Okay. Um so their son Louis, who I believe is the youngest. Is he the youngest or is he just the youngest boy? Because I know there's George, there's Charlotte, and there's Louis.
I think he might be the youngest.
Okay. Um. Anyways, there's so much footage of him absolutely just like rocking out at this Katy Perry concert, like living his best life, being such a like little ADHD, like hyperactive little goofball during this entire coronation. And it's so cute, which I mean, like, I understand because imagine how exhausting it is to be doing this event that's honestly like 6 hours or however long it
Yeah.
is. Also, someone referred to him as the Harry of the Kate and William family, and I think that is so funny. And I hope one day he writes a memoir about what it's like being the youngest prince because I like that is all I'm asking for and more. It sounds so funny.
Yeah.
Um, we kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago about whether Prince Harry was going to attend. He did attend, but solo. Meghan did not attend, whether she was not invited or she chose not to attend.
Yeah, I
We
don't
don't
know.
know. I'm surprised Harry attended.
Yeah, but then like also I don't know.
I do think that he should have attended. Like, I'm glad that he did, and I
Yeah.
definitely think that I think Megan should have attended because like Megan was like a C-rate actress before this, and like now she's gotten like all this wealth and popularity from like she knew what she was getting into when she was marrying him, and like I understand the royal family was like most definitely super racist to her, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
also like I don't know that like I mean like I don't know I don't feel that bad for her.
Yeah.
Anyways, many people booed Charles being coronated, so I don't know if a lot of this is actual real footage, but there's like a lot of footage of people like chanting and saying that chanting and like saying that he's not their king and stuff. I mean, I don't think anyone's happy that Charles was coronated. I think everyone thinks it should. Everyone kind of wished that Queen Elizabeth had really muscled through for another couple of years until it could be William.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote in my notes that Charles should be on the lookout because he's probably 100% at risk to be assassinated, probably by another member of the royal family. I'm just kidding because I really don't want to get sued by Harry because he's suing everyone these days.
It really is.
Speaking of update, his trial did start this week, but there is no news coverage of it. So I will update next week if there's anything, but he's supposed to testify this week. He's supposed to be cross-examined at some point this week. So he was there in England for like 24 hours, like even less than that, flew back, and now he's coming back within the next couple days to get cross-examined for it. Now moving on, we have a lot more news this week. I think like the only thing that I'm glad the reason the episode, I'm like not glad, but the only thing about the episode last week is we had no news. Everything
Yeah.
happened like the day after we finished recording.
Uh-huh.
So we actually have news this week. So there are parents, there are two sets of parents who have sixth grade daughters at Wellington Middle High School, which is in Colorado, that are suing because their daughters were encouraged to join the school's Gay Straight Alliance Club. Um, this comes from the Daily Mail. The information comes from the Daily Mail. There's also a Fox News article about this. I just use the Daily Mail one because they have the most information. But the parents are so the heading reads that parents are suing over claims teachers encouraged their sixth grade daughters to join the LGBTQ club, but to keep it a secret. So the daughters were encouraged to join GSA, which is Gay Straight Alliance, and the issue is not in them joining the club itself. It's that according to the article, the club's meetings actively encourage students to keep their talks about polyamory, puberty blockers, transgenderism, gender identities, sexuality, suicide, and name and pronoun changes a secret from their parents. And so this is all the type of stuff that they would talk about in their club meetings. Um, so a woman named Kimberly Chambers was invited to to speak at one of the meetings. So Kimberly Chambers is the executive director of Splash, which is the supporting pride learning and social happenings, and they are like she's like huge in the LGBTQ community apparently. Like there's so many pictures of her at like all these pride events and stuff, and basically the entire thing about Splash is to encourage like I guess education and like education on like trans like LGBTQ issues, but specifically targeted at like I guess middle. I don't. They didn't specify like middle schoolers and high schoolers. They specified like the younger LGBTQ community. So I'm sure they're trying to do this to elementary schoolers as well.
Yeah.
So when she came and spoke at the meeting, she apparently told the children that if they were not completely comfortable in their bodies, that means they are transgender. Which, like, that is such a messed up thing to tell middle schoolers. Like, when has a middle schooler ever been comfortable in their body?
Yeah, exactly.
Es- Especially like a bunch of like a room full of sixth grade girls. Um, and she told them that it wouldn't be safe to talk about what happened at the meetings with their parents, like all the stuff that they talk about in their meetings. She told them not to tell their parents, and she encouraged the students to talk to her or other teachers, and she gave them her phone number and encouraged them to connect with her on Discord instead of discussing anything with their parents. So each of the parents, so the parents are filing. There's like a law firm that's filing on behalf of the two sets of parents, but each set has a different issue reason why they're suing. So for one of the girls, they said that because of the things that she heard, especially like regarding like body image and stuff, that she wanted to transition. However, there was like months of her saying that she wanted to transition, that she was transgender. But like after it kind of came out, she came out with what they were talking about in the club and stuff. She actually no longer wanted to transition and had to go through counseling because she was given like all this like gender dysphoria because like all the things that they were talking about to like an impressionable
Mhm.
12-year-old girl. And so the other girl, this is really sad. The other set of parents said that their daughter began questioning whether she's aromantic or and asexual. So, for those who don't know, aromantic means that you have like no romantic feelings, like you have no desire and no romantic feelings, and then like asexual means like you have no desire, like you have no essentially like no sex drive, and you have like no desire for any sort of sexual relationship and which like a 12-year-old doesn't know that. Like
Exactly.
I would say like most 12-year-olds don't have a sex drive in the first place and shouldn't have. And like even if they do, like no 12-year-old is asexual.
No.
like asexual. No 12-year-old is like asexual as in the rest of their life. Most 12-year-olds are asexual in the way that they're 12 and don't want to have sex.
Hmm.
It's the same with aromantic, and the fact that they're like using these terms on them and being like, we're labeling you as this and this is what you're going to be the rest of your life. Like, I can't imagine how like detrimental that was. And it like, and it's proof because of the things that she learned in this. She's because of the things she learned in this, and eventually labeling herself as aromantic and asexual, it caused her to have. She admitted that it caused her to have suicidal thoughts, and she said it began when she started going to the meetings, and she said that like she got put in this like really dark kind of emotional state, and she said that she felt it specifically when she was at the meetings. And what's really sad is that she did eventually attempt to take her own life because of these thoughts, and like that is so heartbreaking. I believe that she is okay now. Like she didn't succeed at taking her life, and she's starting to recover from it. And I just like really hope that both of these girls like kind of unlearn the stuff they were taught in here, and like learn to come into their own and find confidence in their own body and who they are as girls and eventually women, rather
Hmm.
than be like sat down and be like, you think that you are gaining too much weight and that's making you insecure. No, it's not your hormones causing you to develop a figure. It's you being transgender.
Yeah,
Let's put you on puberty blockers and then make you more suicidal because of those puberty blockers.
exactly.
It's
Yet
just really Go
the
ahead.
left says that they're not being indoctrinated in schools.
Hmm. Like it's in both of these girls. I don't know if I mentioned with the last girl. Both of these girls talked about having suicidal thoughts. Like if this is, and like the girl, one of the teachers said that transgender youth are more risk of suicide, and that's for a reason. Like you can see this that these girls as soon as they started going to these meetings, started getting into these dark places because it's like it's for when it's not natural. And
Yeah,
two, it's not stuff that they should be having to think about. Like discussing
exactly.
polyamory with like 11 and 12-year olds, like that's so ugh.
Yeah,
Anyways, I don't know how long, when the lawsuit, like when everything going through, they like name the parents, but they're keeping the names of the girls under wraps, obviously. And so hopefully there'll
yeah,
be an update within the next couple months, whether with what's happening. But for now, like my thoughts and prayers obviously go out to these girls and their families, and I'm glad that some responsible adults are stepping in and making sure this doesn't happen to other kids.
yes.
All right, Callista.
Okay. Yes, that's my name.
So this is me
Sorry.
passing the metaphorical microphone
I
to
I
you.
I realize that now. Okay. So this Saturday there was a shooting in Texas. A gunman entered Allen Premium Outlets in Dallas and killed 8 people and injured 7 others. He had been monitor- monitoring the
Monitoring.
area.
I don't
Monitoring.
think that's right. Monitoring.
Monitoring. Yes.
Hmm.
He had been monitoring the area, watching for busy times, trends, things like that. This was a very planned attack. Like when the cops went through like his phone and all of his like house and everything cuz they were doing an investigation, they found several things that were like, "Oh, okay." He had been planning this attack. He had with him multiple weapons including an AR-15 style rifle as the media said. This
What does that mean?
wasn't clearly wasn't an AR-15, but they just wanted to label it as that.
Mm-hmm.
He had some sort of rifle and a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the gunman's social media was full of extremist views such as rants against Jews, women, and racial minorities. There's a very clear sign of like mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
I yeah, I just wanted to point out like there are multiple articles about the shooter's intention in this shooting, and they still haven't released the one for the Tennessee shooting, the school one, because it would harm the LGBT community because it was so dark and like disturbing what this person's thoughts were. But like this is just a white guy and they're like, here's what his plans were.
Yeah, like I just don't understand that. Like obviously all shootings are awful and I'm not like being like it's worse because they were Christian, but
Yeah.
I am saying like maybe this is contributing, maybe like these serious signs of mental health issues aren't
Mhm.
just because he was racist. Like it can be proven in other things. Like this person was taught, like the person who killed the kids in Tennessee, like they obviously had a lot of hatred in their heart for Christians, like enough that they would go and they would murder children. And like I'm
Yeah,
not saying like the LGBTQ community like directly caused that, but I am saying that they do preach a lot of hatred towards Christians, as we talked about in our episode on why Hollywood hates Christians. That's a good
exactly.
tie
Yeah.
in there. I'm quite proud of myself.
Yes. I just was like, it's just a little odd that they are keeping this other one under like lock and key, but this one they're like, here you go, here's all the details.
Mm-hmm.
Again, our hearts go out to the families. There was one little boy who lost both his parents and his little brother, so he was the only surviving one from his family. I was like, oh, like
That's
it's hard, all of the families, but like I was like, that's so sad.
that is
I mean,
so sad.
yeah, and we thank the police and the paramedics that responded. They did their job, took care of the situation. It could have been way worse. There was hundreds of people at this mall because it was like a huge outdoor mall.
Mm.
And the fact, like, I know this is sad to say and like hard to say, but like the fact that only whatever 17 people,
8 people.
no, well, 8 people died, but seven, I can't do math.
Mm-hmm.
8 plus 7 is 15. The fact that only 15 people were shot in a mall that was full of hundreds of people, and this guy clearly had intentions of doing more harm.
Yeah.
It's just the police stopped it,
Mm-hmm.
and because
No, it's like
they shot him and he also died.
it's also like a sign what like a good police force that is getting
Mhm.
provided with funding can do, because if this had happened in like Portland or in
Chicago.
Washington or Chicago or like in California, like because we're defunding the police, like there's a very high chance that there would have been a lot more dead people and there would have been a lot more injured people. And so the fact that they had a team that was so ready to respond is truly, it's one of the things to be thankful about.
Yeah. Like it's hard to say that like, oh yeah, like I'm not disregarding these 8 people that were killed, but it
Yeah.
just the fact that it could have been worse.
No, I
But
completely understand.
yeah, so our thoughts and prayers go out to them.
Hmm.
Okay. Next story. So again, in Texas, what is our obsession with Texas news stories?
I don't know. Everything's
Cuz we
bigger in Texas.
yeah. Cuz we've talked about several things in Texas.
Hmm.
So, the Dell Children's Medical Center of Central Texas, which is located in Austin, oh, is hold up. My notes are confusing myself. Okay.
No, they worded this article was very confusing.
Yeah. Okay, so at the Dell Children's Medical Center in Central Texas, which is Austin area, they are having a lawsuit because they are potentially doing gender transitioning procedures on children.
Hmm.
A couple months ago, Project Veritas sent one of their undercover reporters and found they were transitioning kids as young as 8 and 9. But when they were confronted about it, the spokesperson said, as advocates for the best possible care and treatment for minors, Dell Children's Medical Group takes seriously any allegations about the care provided in our clinics. Our organization prohibits surgery and procedure or prescribing hormone therapy for the treatment of gender dysphoria for children, while our pediatric
Pediatrics.
and adolescent medicine clinics do not provide these interventions. We do provide a safe and welcoming place for children to receive other forms of primary care and treatment, including treatment of illness and injury, well baby visits, and school physicals. We are conducting a thorough review of this situation to the extent that care provided at our clinic may have been inconsistent with our organization's position on this important issue. We intend to take appropriate actions. So I'm not sure if the spokesperson was trying to avoid what's actually going on, or if maybe somebody said something. I don't know. So we'll just, it's very, they're still looking into it. There's an investigation right now. But yeah, so I'm like, the way the spokesperson handled it, I'm like, was or were they hiding it or covering something up? Because it was very much like, we don't do that.
Hmm.
This is what we do. But
Yeah.
either somebody in the clinic is doing it or someone was given wrong information. So we'll see how that investigation goes.
I'm having a feeling there's some kind of there's some rogue doctors and nurses that are doing some under the table stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get into our main topic of this week. I'm so excited for this.
I
I'm
also.
like I'm really interested in hearing what your answers are. Um when we do episodes like this, we don't tell each other's answers beforehand
Mhm.
just because it's kind of fun to discover some new and interesting information about each other. So Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday, which means that we're celebrating moms everywhere. Obviously, the best way to celebrate your mom is with a card, maybe some flowers, maybe some breakfast in bed. Calista, what are you doing for Mother's Day this year?
Um, I don't know.
We're going up to Bridgeport, which is like an hour from us, and we're going to PF Chang's, which my family, we honestly go there. We've gone there like a whole bunch of different Mother's Day, and we all have these little, we have the set things that we all share. And then my little brother is 2 years younger than me, and he was really, really picky when he was growing up. And so he would always get the kids egg noodles with honey chicken, and then I would always eat. I thought I was so cool when my parents finally let me start eating with them, where they would
Uh-huh.
order the multiple plates and eat. I thought it was so cool because my older brother always got to eat with them and I never got to. And they were like, why don't we bring Allison on this multiple plate thing? And I thought I was queen of the world when I got to be pass me some broccoli beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're just walk around Bridgeport and stuff. They have a Barnes and Nobles there. Um, they have it's like an outdoor
Mhm.
mall. It's actually where my boyfriend works.
Uh-huh. I
Mm.
I think I heard something about going on a hike, possibly. Because I know
Hmm.
Allison loves hikes so much.
If the thing is, I don't like hate hiking. I just won't hike Camelback Mountain.
Yeah.
Also, like I just don't feel any joy from like getting out and walking. Like if we're like I'm just like what gonna walk and like look out at the distance and then like at like the scenery and walk back. Like I feel no enjoyment from that. If I see mud, I immediately am itchy. Like the textures of things around me really gross me out.
It's so odd.
Anyways, I got off track. Um, the second best way of celebrating Mother's Day is by, sitting down, maybe giving an episode of a podcast to listen with her. Maybe this podcast,
Maybe.
maybe, or maybe just a segment because we are officially forming the Future Moms Club. That's right. Today we are talking about all things motherhood, except in the theoretical sense of motherhood, as in how we'll be as future mothers. So we have like three kind of different topics that we're going to talk about. Kind of talking about things that we like that our parents instilled in us and what we want to do as parents, things that we've either maybe we've seen from our parents, have seen online, or from other parents that we don't want to teach our kids, and then imagining ourselves as future parents. So let's start off with things that we like that our parents did.
Yeah. So overall, my parents did a really great job. Love
You're like,
them.
not to brag, I am perfect.
No, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but like obviously there was times that I thought they were bad, but they weren't.
Hmm.
That was just me being dramatic.
Hmm.
But every child goes through that phase.
Yeah.
But I feel like some of the things I really liked about my parents were just making religion an important part. Like I feel like that's really shaped who I am, is
Hmm.
them making like religion a part of our everyday life. And
Yeah.
then they've taught me literally everything that I need to know to survive on my own.
We refer to Callista as the dad of the group because she has like so much like random useful knowledge that like I don't like. We'll be like driving down the road and we'll be like, "What does that sign mean?" And she'll be like, "That's what that sign means." We'll be like, "What does that sign mean?" What? And she'll be like, "That's what that sign means." And like I will be like, I will have an issue, like a mechanical issue or whatever, and I will call Callista and be like, I need you to tell me how to fix this.
I I have fixed my garbage disposal in my apartment. I fixed I put oil in my car, important
Mhm.
things.
I
I
truly believe it is a superpower that you, as a woman in STEM, as a woman formerly in STEM, can put oil in your car. Because, like, you went, you knew what oil, and then you, like, put oil in your car in a white
had
t shirt.
I had to call my dad to see what oil I needed to put in my car. I didn't just know.
You, you knew where the oil section of Walmart was.
I've possibly been in it a few times with my dad, maybe just a few. And then let's see, what else have I fixed? Oh, my roommate kept flipping the breakers with her. She didn't flip them, but her stuff kept setting them off, so I kept having to fix them. So I, had lights and stuff in my room because that's kind of helpful. But yeah,
I just learned today what the reset button does.
Allison, I'm concerned about you sometimes.
I just, like, never, I thought I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was just, like, there.
Just use this space.
Yeah, like, I just didn't understand what the porpoise of it was.
But yeah, so just my parents have been there and taught me everything.
Hmm.
Now, what about you?
This sounds mean, but it took me a while to come up with a list. It's not because I had bad parents. I don't have bad parents. Like, I'll admit that. Uh, oh, I feel bad if my parents are listening to this. My relationship with my parents is a little rocky. It's gotten better, but I've had a very rocky relationship with my parents pretty much my entire life. But that's because I struggled really badly with mental health issues, and so it kind of um there's that. But like, I think there are a lot of good things that my parents did do. I never really had super strict parents, which I know sounds like my parents just like let me go off and like smoke pot all the time. It wasn't that. I just didn't have super strict parents, and I think that was really good for me because like they encouraged me to explore myself creatively and like express myself. Like, I've been dyeing, not dyeing my hair, but I've had colored hair since I was in like sixth grade. I was always encouraged to do arts and crafts. I did a whole bunch of different sports, like all that type of stuff. I'm glad that my parents let me do and figure out. Like, I played basketball, soccer. I did cheer, I did dance, I did volleyball. I did so many random sports. I did
I was
track.
I was not allowed to do volleyball or basketball because mom said that was January and February were months we did nothing. So I I suck at volleyball and not great at basketball either. So maybe it's a good thing.
Oh, you should be so happy Jacob will not give me that picture of you playing at a volleyball tournament, because that would be the cover for this episode if I could.
Uh, yeah, no thanks.
Mhm. I was always encouraged to try things. And I was always like encouraged that like failure is not like a bad thing. It's always a
Mhm.
learning experience. I grew up around a lot of kids who were perfectionists, and I've never been a perfectionist. And I think that kids that growing up that don't know how to fail, like, make for really bad adults
Oh,
and like young adults. And so I think that like teaching your kids that failure is okay is a great thing that they did.
yeah.
Um, so I'm adopted. My parents and my older brother are white, and then my little brother and I are of color. That sent Callista for some reason.
Because he was just like, yeah, so let me make sure and slide in there that I don't match my parents.
I'm adding some, I'm coming up to a point.
Okay.
Yeah, you can come into my house and really play one of these things is not like the other. But I feel like I've always grown up colorblind in like the best way possible. In an essay one time, I put it that my family kind of looked like a patchwork quilt, and that was like stitched together by God, which that was like poetic Allison. So I'm like really proud of
Mhm.
myself. That was like sophomore year when I was like really into writing poetry for some reason. Um, and like that family isn't blood. Like, I've never been like my mom is any less my mom because I didn't like pop out of her one day. And like, I think that I feel like a lot of people, especially the media, is like, if you have to adopt, that is the end of the world. But like, I think that it's like given me such a passion for like kids in the adoption system. And like my little brother and I were adopted as infants, but like one day I want to adopt like older kids and stuff. And like
Mhm.
I I'm really passionate about reforming the adoption system and stuff. And like, I'm glad that my parents kind of instilled that in me. Like, sometimes I even forget that we like don't look alike, which I think is really funny, because like sometimes my dad and I will be walking around in public and he'll do something weird to me because like your dad just does weird things to you.
Mhm.
Like, and like he'll try to hug me and I'll like run away from him because I don't want to be hugged, and people will be like, "Are you okay? Is this man bothering you?" I'd be like, "Oh, no, 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 that's my dad. Like, don't worry." Oh, and like the last thing is, I had a house that everybody wanted to go to, which I appreciate, because you
Mhm.
like, when you're like friends and you're like, you have to go to Sierra's house.
Yeah.
Yikes! But I had a house that people like to go to. People like my mom a lot, so that's great. I feel like people. I think my mom likes most of my friends more than she likes me.
Okay.
My grandma really likes you, by the way. When I hung up the other day, she was like, she goes, I love that Callista girl. It's
Uh,
so sad. She's like, we need to figure out a plan to keep her from graduating.
just gonna be like, I'm personally going to make you stay.
Hmm. Okay. Our second one is what we don't want to install in our kids.
I really had to think about this one. My parents not didn't do anything that I'm like I don't want, but
Hmm.
TikTok parents. I will not be a TikTok parent. There's no way I'm getting famous off my kid. But like I just don't think it's right when parents like post their kids and get famous off of their kids cuz basically they know they can't get the fame and attention they want, so they use their kid instead.
Yeah. So Jeanette McCurdy, who played Sam on iCarly, she has a memoir called "I'm Glad My Mom Died," and it's about how her mom basically used her as a cash cow
Mhm.
when she was growing up, and like she had like all the stress put on her because her mom was basically like, our financial stability depends on you being successful, so I don't care if you like it or not. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who've talked about that. I mean, like, think about Britney Spears and everything that happened with her.
Mhm.
Think about all these like kids, like there's like an era of like kids who parents are vlogging them, who are going to grow up and tell their stories one day about how they were essentially like they were the like one that was the financial backbone
Yeah,
of their family, and so if they stopped eating.
exactly.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's like something I really had to think about it, and I was like, nope, it's
Hmm.
the one thing that I'm like I will not do. What about you?
um Here's the thing I feel is controversial. Colissa just gave me a scared look.
Cuz when that
uh,
comes out of your mouth, I don't know what's going to come next.
if your kid doesn't want to spend time with you, I don't think you should force your kid to spend time with you. When I was in middle school, I was like the worst kid on the planet. I was not like a bad kid. I very much wanted to be alone. And I used to get forced to watch movies with my family. And I still remember being like, I was in such a bad mood, and I was in such a bad mood. I didn't want to be around anyone. I just want to be up in my room and cry, or like listen to like my sad girl music. And my parents would be like, no, we're having family time. And then it would just like not be fun because then I would be like fighting with my parents the entire
Mm,
time. And like, I don't know, like, I just think that like, I feel like I understand some situations, but I think I think it kind of needs to be understood that like sometimes kids, especially like preteens, just need to be alone.
yeah.
And
My
like, mhm,
my parents would always like check on us when we were like alone for a while
mhm,
just to make sure like we weren't doing anything we shouldn't be doing.
mhm.
And I feel like yes, we had some more alone time, but also they checked in, and I feel like that it was a good balance.
When you were saying TikTok parenting, I thought you were going this way with it. I don't believe in gentle parenting.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that you should like mentally and emotionally abuse your kids, but I don't think being like, how about today we decide what our punishment is not a good form of parenting.
Yeah.
Mhm. Um, Ooh, this was on. We kind of talked about this on the episode that never ended up coming out. But I don't think that you should call your. I don't think parents should tell their kids that they're special. I
Yeah.
think that every kid. I don't. I think that every kid is unique, but I don't think that every kid is special. And I think telling your kids they're special is just gonna give kids a lot of ego, and
Mhm.
like egotistical kids become like the imperfectionist ones, and they're like, I am above everybody else.
Yeah. My parents like when we did our projects or whatever, were like, "Oh, that's really good. Like, let's
Hmm.
try harder. Like, let's practice this. Let's like they never were like you're so special, or that's the
Hmm.
most amazing thing. Like,
Yeah.
she would be very much like, let's do this. And I appreciate that because I feel like it really like shaped who I am now.
Hmm. Like, I don't think a kid should ever feel like they're not doing well enough. Like, I don't think there should ever be like, this is what you did, and like, that's good for now, but you can keep improving. But I also,
Mhm.
like, I think there's situations for that, and there's situations for being like, this was really good and leaving it at that. But I don't think a kid should ever, I don't think someone should ever be like, you are perfect.
Yeah.
I see no improvement needed.
Yeah.
Let's see. If your kid is talking about something, get excited with them. If your
Hmm.
kid's excited about something and you don't get excited about something, it's like the most crushing thing on the planet to the kid.
Yeah.
Um, and then lastly, well, like, it's like, peer into your souls, deep into your souls, and then examine the future and like imagining ourselves as like future parents and like what we want
Hmm.
to do, like how we want to be as parents. Like, obviously no parent's perfect, but like
Yeah.
every parent can be the best parent, can try and
Mhm.
be the best parent for their kid.
Yeah, just, obviously want to raise kids that grow up to be good people,
Hmm.
to love God and love others. Oh, a good one. That men are men and women are women. Just,
Hmm.
I want to homeschool my future kids, so
Hmm.
yeah, that was everything I had.
I honestly don't know because I was raised in a public school system and I think I turned out fine.
I'm not saying you didn't turn out fine. I just have always.
No, but like I also understand. Like, I know a lot of people, like most conservatives, want their kids to be homeschooled or go to private school,
Mhm.
and like I can see that. But I also am like, I
I
don't know. I like. Mhm,
I think it very much depends on the school district now.
mhm. Also, I think it honestly depends on the kid
Yeah.
because like I think that growing up in the public school system was really beneficial to me because I feel like I really experienced like so many different people's point of views.
Mhm.
And like I said, like you and Amanda, other than like the people I went to church with, are like my first conservative friends.
Mhm.
Like, I've never had a friend who was like actually conservative, like other than people I went to church with, but that was kind of different.
Yeah.
And so like it's odd being like so like it was like always odd to me because I feel like when I was like with my like liberal friends, I'm always like on like the defense,
Yeah.
like waiting for someone to attack me, like very carefully change uh like
Choosing your word.
censoring my words. But
Mhm.
like I also feel like I have like a really good understanding of like how they believe and stuff, and I feel like it makes it more, I feel like it makes like I feel like I benefited a lot from that.
Yeah, and even being homeschooled, I have friends
Hmm.
from all different backgrounds also.
Yeah, like I'm not. That's not what I was saying, but I'm like
Yeah,
saying that like
no.
I think that like being like constantly being around that many different types
Mhm.
of stuff was really good for me. Like I grew up, like the high school I went to was mostly Mormons,
Mhm.
like mostly Mormons, and then really rich Asians. It was an odd mixture. It was a really odd
And then there
mixture.
was Allison.
And
Just
then there was Allison, who was like one of like seven black people in the school because it's Salem, Oregon. And they tried to make, I totally forgot this, they tried to make a black student union at our school, which is really hard when you have seven black people. And the
yeah.
only reason we showed up was to eat pizza.
I mean, that's the only reason I would show up.
The Black Student Union was the first time I realized there were like actually other black people at our school. I was like, we all like showed up being like, I did not realize this many black people went here. Okay, how I will be as a parent. Let's get into this.
I mean,
I want kids that I can get excited and enthusiastic with. I want kids that are enthusiastic about life and trying things. I want them to befriend I want them to befriend everyone, and I want them to encourage to be in the world, but not of the world, and not to be afraid of getting hurt, failure, or imperfection. I want kids to understand that intelligence comes in all forms, and through that, being a light onto others, as well as being their being like their own unique little selves. I just want to raise a bunch of little weirdos, honestly.
You're like, I want to raise very weird kids, and I'm like, I want to raise very like, good people who come like proper and all that. You're like the weirdest child possible.
I want a weirdo kid. I want a kid. I want such weird kids. Weirdo kids are the best. Oh my gosh. Whenever I teach preschool or anything, my favorite one is to find the kid that's just absolutely bonkers in the group and be like, you keep being you because I hope you turn out even weirdo.
Okay.
Like, I don't want them to be like licking rocks, but I do want them to be like,
Didn't you do that?
no, I never licked rocks, but I did eat a crayon.
Who was it that said they licked rocks?
I did say that to prove a point about my immune system because I have a very good immune
Okay,
system.
I was like, I feel like somebody said that.
No, I don't want them to be like actively like sitting and like eating dirt, but I do want
I
them
mean,
to be like,
God made
that kid's
dirt,
a
dirt
little
won't
off.
hurt.
No, 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 no. I'm not this full God made dirt, dirt won't hurt thing. I'm very anti this mindset.
I've ate
Actually,
dirt.
what?
I said I've ate dirt.
That's so weird.
Child, okay?
I ate a crayon.
That's weird.
I ate a blue crayon.
Very specific.
Hmm. I don't know why. Also, so as a as a woman of color,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that your parents will put on you as women of color is shea butter or like cocoa butter. And so I
Mm-hmm.
used to get cocoa butter put on me like every night after my bath. And it makes you all shiny and it moisturizes your skin and stuff. And it came like a big tub and it looks
Mm-hmm.
exactly like actual butter. And so when I went to my grandma's house one time, she had like a little dish of butter sitting out on her table. And I just put my hands in the butter and took a big scoop and just started like rubbing it all over my skin. And she
When
comes back. Mhm.
when ever I have sap on my hands, I use butter because it removes it.
All right. Do you have any concluding thoughts on this subject?
Um, no,
No.
I'm tired.
I'm tired too. This was fun. I want to do
Yes.
another episode like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we also would like to wish our moms, grandmas, all moms in any form, future moms, current moms, a happy
Yeah.
a happy Mother's Day, and we hope that you have a wonderful day. All right, let's finish up with our pop culture news of the week, which we took a little break from. If you haven't heard, there is a writers' strike going on right now. This has been hinted at for months, but it has finally come into fruition. Yes, the writers are striking. So, this is our second time following a strike on the podcast. I feel like all we follow when it comes to news is lawsuits and strikes.
Uh-huh.
So there we go. Yeah, the
And
writers'
mostly in
strike.
Texas.
Mhm. This is in Los Angeles and across a whole bunch of things. So the Writers Alliance are claiming that they are not being paid enough, especially because of the streaming services and stuff. And so they're striking for better pay. Some of the signs they've made are like hilarious though. I can't think of anything specific, but like um it's been really funny. A lot of actors are coming out and supporting them. Pete Davidson has come out and support them. A bunch of the Marvel actors have come out. A bunch of big TV shows are in support of them, but it also means that a lot of productions are being shut down right now or being delayed. So Marvel's Blade is being delayed, which I'm very sad about. I don't know if it's being fully shut down, but it's being delayed. Stranger Things is on delay. Yellow Jackets, which is a new Prime show, is on delay right now. There's a whole bunch of other examples, but until at least they come to agreement about what they're being paid, this is going to continue shutting down TV shows. So it'll be interesting what's going on. A lot of people saying that the primary cause of the strike is because of how Netflix is treating their writers, which is an interesting theory.
Mhm.
I honestly don't know enough about how the unions work specifically in Hollywood to have like a complete understanding of it, but I know for a fact that they just don't get paid enough. How do I think this is going to end? I don't think that they're going to get everything that they want, but I think that there will be a compromise that's going to come to. And I think that a lot of TV shows are going to get shut down in the process. I think HBO Max is going to lose a lot on a lot. And I think Netflix is going to lose out on a lot because those productions have both had a lot of issues with their writing teams. Recently, HBO Max has like a new show coming out with Lily Rose Depp in it, and they've had a lot of issues with the writing team on that. And in Netflix, just overall, with everything going on with how their platform is evolving, has had a lot of issues on that as well. So, pretty
Mhm.
interesting. Um, yeah, it's just like I hope that they get what they want. I believe that the last writer strike was in like the early 2000s, maybe 2010s, and a whole bunch of TV shows ended up getting canceled over that too.
Uh-huh.
So, and I believe that they got a higher pay. So hopefully this works out for them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Check us out on Instagram at IDWTap_podcast. Also, check out our personal Instagrams, which is at ally.joy173 and
Callista J 1776.
mhm. Check out our references page, which is always linked in the description below, as well as a place for you to leave us voice messages. We'd love to hear how you think that you would be. As we'd love to hear some submissions for the Future Moms Club. Callista, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about both conservatives fleeing liberal states.
No, sorry, it's not both conservatives. I just did not edit that right. I
was like,
changed the
that
way I was wording.
sounds odd. Okay. Next week, we're talking about conservatives fleeing liberal states to Texas and Florida. Since the two of us come from two of the bluest states, we're going
We're
gonna
we're going
be
we're going to be
discussing our
disgusted.
gonna be discussing our thoughts on the Red Exodus and if it's our duty to be the change or if all hope is lost. Thanks for
This next
what? Go ahead.
this next episode is going to be a little bit of a doozy. Just because we have some mixed ideas on how we're formatting it. So if anyone's like, hey, hey, I have thoughts on this, like send us an email because that would be really helpful. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. I honestly don't even know what my full thoughts are. I feel like I won't know until I actually start recording.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening this week. And once again, we're wishing all mothers everywhere a very happy Mother's Day.